Come on, y'all do a little better than that now. Come on, man. I'm supposed to some day hard side. Our sisters brought a presence in this, man. And let me say this, man. Y'all got to give Moreh, Amire, and Nina a hand clap for what the Most High doing here, man. Come on, come on, come on. Y'all do better than that. Come on now. They working. They working. They working, man. And what the Most High is doing, being humble. And they sowed the right seeds in the early days in other men's ministry. Look what the Most High doing. It's amazing. It's amazing. Hallelujah. I'm going to tell you, man. Let me tell you how this started. All I told Moreh, Amire. Let me tell you, man. All I told him. I said, listen. We expanded. We keep getting emails in Atlanta. So I said, you know what? I got a young man that's in Atlanta that I need him. I need somebody to mentor him. I need to be able to send him to a place where somebody can start off from scratch and learn and develop. You know, I was sending people to places that sometimes the people be way up here with knowledge, yes, information. They be like, I'd be like, well, how was it? You know, it was good, but I didn't understand everything. Right. So I talked to Amire. I said, man, listen, man, I need you to mentor some people from me. I said, I'm going to send you one brother. Hallelujah. And once we did that, I'm telling you, Amire, man, he ran from that thing, boy. Man, because one thing about me, I can see humility in you. One thing about me, I don't care about a whole bunch of knowledge. That's good. But when I see character, I see humility, and I see a love for the people. Yes. That's what's in a leader. The knowledge will come as the Most High begin to elevate. Right. But that brother here had the full package. He was already knowledgeable. He was already knowledgeable. But he told me, he was like Mo, Big Mo. He called me Big R. I ain't doing that. He said, I know what that entails. I know what leading people means. Like, I ain't fooling with it. Nina like, no. We'll just do our thing. We do our business thing. And when you need us on the road. But I was like, I said, brother, I need you, man. I got this brother. He said, man, let me pray about it. Let me talk to my wife about it. He accepted it. And man, look what the Most High did. Look what the Most High, look at how beautiful this edifice is. And I told you, I said, y'all in the middle of Atlanta now. I said, a lot of people follow us, but y'all in the middle of Atlanta. Well, all the skilled teachers is here. But look at what the Most High doing anyway. So it's amazing, man. The funny thing about it, the dude that I told him to start at, the dude ain't even coming. But look at all y'all are here. But that's powerful what the Most High doing through the man of Yah, man. So we just happy and excited to be amongst you. And what we want to start doing is having maybe once every 3 months a combined Shabbat. This will be Atlanta, Augusta. Y'all give our new family that's coming on the board, Columbia, South Carolina. We'll be going to Columbia in April the 27th and starting the assembly there. And then Gainesville, where we have a national Sabbath, man, and just watch the Most High move. Watch the Most High move. So we got some other things that we got in play, and we'll tell you afterwards, man. But I'm just so glad to be here amongst so much family. I really feel at home here. Hallelujah. How y'all feel? Let me see your teeth. See your teeth. See you smiling a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Lighten up a little bit. There you go. Smile.
Hallelujah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Watering up at the eyes. Me, go ahead. No, I need a moment. Go ahead. Stall a little boy. I'm trying to gather myself.
All this for you, man. Stop.
I did not want to do this. What he was saying is true. I didn't want to do this. There's a lot of responsibility that comes with this. This is not something to be taken lightly. The weight of ministry is heavy.
Yes, man.
Correct.
Yes,
Hallelujah. Yes, Father.
It's scary.
Yeah.
Yes, Father. Yes. Very.
People begin to put you on a platform that you never asked for.
Hallelujah.
And I constantly try to climb down. It's not something to take lightly. Everyone shouldn't be so quick to teach.
Hallelujah.
That's why there's so much confusion within our community, because people just think because they read something that they can now teach people.
Hallelujah.
It's deeper than that.
Come on, man.
Yes.
I ran from this. I remember me, him, Moreh, Josh, and Moreh J. Lutch was in Louisiana. It was December 2017.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And yeah, that's when I first found out that he was going, that they was looking for people, you know, people that they trust, and they. He said in the car, he was like, "Hey, Amire, you know, I think you'd be good down in Atlanta." I'm like, nope. One thing I used to call myself Jonah, and I told him that, like, nope, I'm Jonah. And we all cracking up in the car, but there's one thing he said. He was like, you know what Jonah did at the end, right?
Right.
You get on my nerves. And then what really made me accept this, knowing what I would have to go through. Because even as my times as a Christian, my last pastor, I was his best friend. So I used to see him deal with the people.
Yeah.
I used to see him cry. I used to see the pain when he did not want to show up. And he still had to because he had a responsibility.
That's right.
So no, I didn't want to do this. But the thing that really made me decide to move forward with this is when, after like the second or third time he presented it to me, I said, that's when I was like, well, I'll talk to my wife and see. And she said, I don't know why you keep running. And that pierced my soul. And while I'm not perfect, I don't know everything, but what I want is I want us to be truly family. I want us to truly seek the Most High with our whole heart. I want us to flee from sin, from transgressions. I want to be in the will of the Most High. And that's a good place to be in. All right, so enough of that mushy stuff. All right, let's go ahead and get on with the lesson.
One more thing before we do this. I'd like to thank the Most High for my family.
Hallelujah.
For my son,
Hallelujah.
bringing up the rear, he holding it down. MJ. For my two daughters, Jada and Jasmine, and little mama holding up the rear. Little Shalom Israel. She's something else. Last but not least, I'd like to thank the Most High for my beautiful wife that stands so faithful by my side. That girl strengthening me and helping me mold and show that I can really talk to and just help me develop into the right thing, make sure I'm going in the right direction. So I thank the Most High for my wife and for my family. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Real quick, we have some people standing up in the back. Is there any women standing up back there? Okay. So how many empty seats? If you have an empty seat next to you, raise your hand. That is 1, 2, 3. There's 4, 5. There's a couple seats scattered about. So if y'all want to come take a seat, get in where you fit in. Give you a couple seconds to head to these seats. All right, they good? All right, let's get it going. All right, so we want to talk to y'all a little bit about community. With all the things that's been going on, and we, as far as I can recount, and at the top of my head, the whole Israelite awakening really began to come onto the scene back in the 1960s.
Correct.
And and then you get the camps, and you get the splitting of the camps, and then you get a whole bunch of splinter cells, and all of this stuff that has happened since. So a lot of people have been trying to come together for a long time. And for some reason, here we are, where we are today, where there still seems to be a lot of things that we can't agree on, so we don't want to fellowship with each other. We don't want to be cool. We so quick to block people that every chance we get. It's a block party. You know? Block. But what it's time for, and I don't know how many of you subscribe to the 2019 400-year prophecy. I'm not saying that whether it's accurate, if it's not, I'm not going to say any. But what I'm saying is, we can all see the signs that something is about to happen.
Correct.
So at this point, we need a paradigm shift.
That's right.
We need to get ready and prepare ourselves physically, mentally, spiritually, for whatever it is that's next to come. But although we know who we are, we know that we're supposed to be keeping this covenant. For some reason, there's still some things about us when it comes to our brothers and sisters that we just can't mesh well with them yet.
Correct.
So we're going to talk about community and what we need to do to shift in this community moving forward. So paradigm shift. You know I like to define terms. So paradigm shift, an important change that happens when the usual way of thinking about or doing something is replaced by a new or different way. That's what I think it's time for us to get ready to go on now, is to identify the usual way that we do things, the things that still has us bound. I know we want to be free from all of these things. We want to be free from low self-esteem, right? We want to be free from not getting along with our brother. What causes us to not get along with our brother? We want to be free from these things. So we got to identify what's the usual way, and then we need to replace it with something new. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
All right.
All right, so this is important. I like to increase your level of confidence in yourself. Because, listen, all right, let's just be honest. In this nation, it's been instituted, planned, and spoken to diminish our confidence in ourselves.
Correct.
Completely. According to every aspect of our life, that we have been told that we're nothing, that we still slaves, that our worth isn't anything. So it's amazing what the Most High does. Throughout the years, he wrote in the scriptures, even before he was born, he said, I know it's going to be a time period when my people are in captivity. But I'm going to give them a word in captivity to boost their confidence, not to let them know what America feels about them.
That's right.
Now, don't be scared for me saying that.
That's
'cause
right.
It's just reality.
True.
But I'm going to show you what I feel about you. Y'all ready?
Right.
All right. Now, let's see. I ain't saying this. This is the Most High. This is his thoughts.
Right.
About all of y'all. Say, this is his thoughts.
It's his thought
About me.
about me.
All right, that's it. For thou, Deuteronomy 7 says, for thou art an holy people
Correct.
unto Yahuwah, thy Elohim. Yahuwah, thy Elohim, have chosen thee to be a special. Somebody say, I'm special.
I'm special.
He said that. People unto himself. Watch what he say now. Above all people that are upon the face of the earth. See, we can't even believe that. We don't even want to comprehend that. Now we all supposed to, I'm telling you what the Most High says now.
That's right.
Am I in the book?
Yes, you are.
I said, get ready now. Don't get scared now. Amos 3:1-2. I'm just going to get a little deeper. He's talking about you. Hear this word that Yahweh has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I bought from the land of Egypt, saying what? You only have I known out of all of the families of the earth. Why would he say that?
Correct.
That's a question. I like you to talk back to me. Why would he say that?
Y'all should be used to that.
Exactly.
There's no we special.
Huh?
We're
We special, but why are we special?
He chose us and we're made in his image.
He set us apart, but my man said to me, I like to get to you. What you got, bro?
Because we are the first. Because Adam and Eve were both black.
That's good too.
He said because Adam and Eve was both black. Hey, we gonna touch on that in a minute.
But it was because of the covenant.
Right.
No other nation of people
Have a covenant.
did he make a covenant with and say, these are mine.
Right.
He set them aside. We're going to get to that. Watch this. Psalms 147, 19 to 20. He showed his word unto Jacob, his statutes, his judgment unto Israel. He have not dealt so with any other nation, for his judgment they have not known them. So the Most High didn't only just give you his word, but he gave you his mind and gave you his heart.
Correct.
He said, these people right here, I'm finna fellowship with.
Right.
He said, what is man that I'm so mindful of him?
Right.
Think about this now. We go through the day doing some of everything. Now think about the Most High, think about jobs, bills, children, all that dishes, and what we gonna eat and cook. The Most High said, I'm always thinking about you. My mind is full of you. How I can get into that place and begin to speak the things that are on my heart. That's what prayer is. Prayer ain't just you telling the Most High what's in your heart, but that's you allowing him, you just being quiet. He just speaking to you and sharing his heart with you. So that's what Abba want to do. That's what a father does. Watch this, Deuteronomy 32, 9 through 10. For Yahuwah's portion is what? Yahuwah's portion is what?
His people.
Jacob is the lot of his inheritance.
Right.
He found him in the desert land and a wasting howling. He led him about, he instructed him and kept him as what?
The apple of his eye.
So it said you are his portion. Every other God got portion, but I said, not these people right here. These people here, they mine.
That's right.
Now they ain't only mine, but they are my inheritance.
Yes. Right. Yes.
Do you know what it means to inherit something?
Yes.
Something down the years that's waiting you. The Most High said, I'm waiting through all the centuries to get what's being inherited to me.
Right.
That's why his people can't be done away with.
Correct.
He can't go and choose another
Hallelujah.
people after he done made a covenant with Israel.
Right. Hallelujah.
Right.
All right, let's keep going. Oh, I love this one here. Josh dealt with this a little bit this morning. Deuteronomy 4, chapter 5 through 8. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as Yahuwah our Elohim commanded me, that you should sow in the land, whether you should go possess it. Do away, therefore, and do them. Don't worry about it.
No.
They done away with it.
I think that's what it says.
Y'all don't need no more law.
No.
What it say? Keep. Now, ain't it amazing that if anybody else need a law, who need a law?
We
Black
do.
folks.
Hallelujah.
Because we some lawless people without the covenant.
That's right.
We show out, we act up, we just do what we want to do. If anybody need a law, it's us.
Correct.
For this is what? Your wisdom and your understanding and what?
The sight.
So watch this. Personalize this now. When the nations see you, do they see the wisdom of the Most High for a man? You demonstrate that. I ain't talking about that's a good scripture. Are you upholding what he has given you to demonstrate the wisdom of how a man is supposed to operate?
All right.
The wisdom on how a woman's supposed to operate. Because when you get that wisdom, it'll begin to draw nations, even draw your spouses, even draw your children.
Correct.
We have to be honest and say, you know what? I ain't demonstrating that wisdom.
All right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Let's keep going. For what nations that's so great that have an Elohim denied to them that you are Yahuwah our Elohim and all things that we call upon him for? And what nation is that so great have the statutes and judgments as righteous as all our law, which I have set before you this day? So it's up to us to display the law, to display the wisdom, display the ruach and the mind of the Most High in the way that we operate with each other.
Hallelujah.
So next time you get ready to lash out on somebody, sisters, you get ready to do this.
All right now.
Get ready to roll in there. Wait.
Hallelujah.
My ancestors already got in trouble about that, according to Isaiah 3.
Right.
I'm going to straighten this nigga out a little bit and calm down.
Hallelujah.
Man, before you go crazy like, this woman ain't respecting me, I'm the head now. Calm down.
That's right.
You got to qualify to be the head. You ain't the head because you're a man.
That's right. Hallelujah.
Look at that. This is rolling that. That's right. I see y'all. Y'all something up. Don't do that man like that at the house.
About to get somebody in trouble today.
Go ahead.
You did this one?
Oh, Deuteronomy 2.
You slipping.
I'm tripping, man. My bad. Got a little bit excited. This day will I begin to put the dread of thee and the fear of thee upon the nations that are under the whole heaven.
All right.
Who shall hear the report of thee and shall tremble in that. Oh, this right here.
That's it.
This why you couldn't know your history.
Right.
They said if we
That's
ever
right.
let them people get back to their Elohim like they was before. The
Hallelujah.
fear.
Fear.
The dread of the Most High come back on the nations. Because you remember, you go back and read what our ancestors did. What Judah did?
Yeah.
Judah told him that, man, I will shut down the nation of Egypt.
Hallelujah.
In a day. Play with me. Give me my little brother picture.
Hallelujah.
Give me my little brother. I come and shut. I mean, if our ancestors now, especially them 12 tribes, because they knew it was the Most High. If they was to look at us now and say, man, what in the world wrong with y'all?
Right. Thank you.
How y'all so weak like that?
Thank you. Hallelujah.
How y'all think so less of yourself? Do y'all know who on y'all side?
Woo!
You got to get back to that, man. I ain't saying go out there and do nothing crazy now. You can get that from me. Go out there, get some guns. Somebody, you finna go to war. Calm down.
Now think about all of this stuff that he have here. All this love and empowerment. Think about what it says in Deuteronomy 2:25. How could we go from that?
Hallelujah.
This.
Yes. Wow. Yes. Say it.
What happened to us, Israel?
Say it.
What was that? What happened?
What?
It was Confederate. But what did we do? What did we decide to do that attributed to this? Yes, they were Confederate, but it wasn't just that. It was something that led to that. What was that? It was our disobedience. We are a stiff-necked people.
Right.
Say amen. Hallelujah.
Say hallelujah.
Hey, he was right when he said, yo, we are people who definitely need some laws, because one thing I found out about us, we don't like structure. We don't like anything that we feel, don't restrict me, I'm going to do what I want to do. No. Our disobedience led us down the wrong path, and then they became Confederate against us. But here we are today, leading in all of these things. Mass incarceration. African Americans are incarcerated in state prisons across the country at more than how many times?
5.
5 times the rate of whites, and at least 10 times the rate in 5 states.
Wow.
What else we got?
Right.
Broken home.
Oh, man.
Don't go.
Sensitive subject.
Very sensitive.
Sensitive subject. The family structure of Israel has been decimated. It has been absolutely destroyed, and yes, that has been by design.
Yes, sir.
That has been by design to take the man out of the home.
Come on now.
All right? Broken homes. The percentage of white children under 18 who live with both parents almost doubles that of black children, according to the data. While 74% of all white children below the age of 18 live with both parents, only 38% of African American minors can say the same.
Wow.
38%. Instead, more than 1/3 of all black children in the United States under the age of 18 live with unmarried mothers, compared to 6.5% of white children. This is a bunch of data that I was looking at. I'm not going to go through all of this, but what essentially this is saying is that we are at a disproportionate rate the subject of a systematic scheme to incarcerate us from schools. Y'all heard of the school to prison pipeline, right?
Yes, sir.
What did somebody tell me what that is about?
If they don't know.
Basically, what they're doing is through the test systems, these standardized tests, well, even before they get to the standardized tests, the black male is feared. So they start coming at them with ADHD, you can't listen. So then they get thrown into ESC classes, exceptional student education, special education. Once they make it into this system, I've seen this up close and firsthand. A lot of them have no business being in there.
Correct.
But because they weren't able to sit down, which kids aren't really supposed to do, let's just be honest.
Right.
And listen or be able to be dealt with, they basically cast them away. And then we got to deal with another one, the sports.
Right.
We have sold our children into sports.
Correct.
Once they realize that they're not going to be an NBA player or a football player, they stop caring about education.
Correct.
So now they're out in the streets, getting into trouble, and then they end up in the detention centers.
Right.
I've worked in the detention centers. It is serious. 95% of the young males that are in there are our little brothers. This is a fact.
Check out numbers 3 and 4. Students of color face harsher punishments in school. It's just like how the adults, when they're pulled over for a crime or they're convicted of a crime, they get a harsher sentence in comparison to their white counterparts, right? The same thing happens when students get in trouble in school. Students of color face harsher punishments in school than their white peers, leading to a higher number of youth of color incarcerated. According to the recent data by the Department of Education, African American students are arrested far more often than their white classmates. One last more for the youth. African American youth have higher rates of juvenile incarceration and are more likely to be sentenced to adult prison.
That's right.
Wow. So yeah, we dealt with that. Now we got, how many of us have heard of the Willie Lynch? What can y'all tell me about that?
The making of a slave.
The making of the slave. Talk to me about it.
Basically, what he does is, if I'm not mistaken, Willie Lynch, back a few centuries ago, and it's still in question of whether the literature and everything was true, but the actual psychology of it is very true. But basically, he goes and he tells how to basically make a slave and make them subject to basically, basically that type of.
Yes, sir. You have something, brother?
It's the same mindset that goes with terrorism. So the same people that espouse terrorism today were espousing terrorism to us.
Yes, sir.
So they've had plenty of time to practice it.
We're going to get you, then we're going to get down. Go ahead, brother. Get the mic, get the mic.
The whole Willie Lynch thing is a mind thing, psychological. However, it had nothing to do with destroying the black man. It had something to do with controlling the black woman. Because if you control the black woman, who is close to the child, who raises the child, then you actually control the child as well. When anytime anytime the child is going to sports, anything like that, they don't talk to the father. They talk to the mother. The mothers is the ones that encourages the child to do everything, to stand up, to walk straight, or to put their head down if the white man is walking by. Understand what I just said? So it's all about controlling the black woman. And at the same time, as times went on, let's empower the black woman. So they started pushing empower the black woman, empower the black woman, empower the black woman, alleviate the black man, don't need the black man, I'm a black woman, take care of my own bills, this, that, and the third, but at the same time, you're crippling yourself. So now, a lot of our black women are crippled off of the Willie Lynch, and they cripple the children. Black man can't say anything because he's where? Incarcerated.
Good point. Go ahead, bro.
Well, he pretty much summed it up there. What I'm thinking is that one thing about Willie Lynch, I think he went into Jamaica when he started showing the slave masters how to break the bucks. But one of the main things they did was they would put torture and fear into the mother and also to the children.
Right.
If you go ahead and show the mother at an early age and then put the children there and show them what would happen to them, that destroys the next generation. Because one thing about the human DNA, it's not just about what you see physically. A lot of times it's in our genes. You understand? And we don't understand that. Just like it's in our genes right now to wake up. You understand? This is an ancient thing that's going on. Remember what Solomon said, nothing under the sun is new. You understand? So that's a great point, brother.
Y'all done already talked that. Go ahead. I'm gonna let the sister say something. We're gonna keep going.
And then also it was basically psychological, but it also had the slaves be against each other, like the lighter skinned slaves against the darker skinned slaves, and it was just anything that could take the minds of us and put it against each other.
Now, that is absolutely correct. Those are very, very good points. And the thing about this letter is how old? When did this thing come out? 1700s?
Yeah.
Can we still see the effects of that today?
Yes, definitely. Yes, you do.
Still, it's very prevalent because that's what happens when something psychological comes down. Like, I don't know if y'all are familiar with epigenetics.
Yes.
But if you get these epigenetic markers, your children are going to be birthed with these same type of issues, and they didn't even have to experience whatever it was.
Come on, bro.
They didn't even have to experience it, but these epigenetic markers get passed down from generation to generation to generation. You think about some of the scriptures where they begin to talk about their the children, and they're going to do the things that their fathers did. That also is a part of epigenetics. You begin to do the things that your father did. You begin to have these same traits, these same desires. You look like him, you act like him, you think like him.
Right.
So if we don't have a way to change our psychological makeup, but before you can change it, you have to identify it, and then you can get that paradigm shift.
That's right.
Mindset of our oppressors. Go ahead.
That's why it's important, because the scriptures identify.
Correct.
They show you what's going to happen before it happens. See, I always want to know, man, what's wrong with us, man?
Right.
All the things you take.
Right.
Like, when you really have to study, and man, when you get to studying and going into it, and you got to go to slavery.
Correct.
A lot of times we don't like to deal with that, but if you want to know what's going on today, there's
have
effects
to.
that happen during that time. A lot of times we scared to go into that stuff, because I don't know why we think we're going to become a angry black man that just want to kill everybody. We ain't got no history of just killing everybody.
No, we don't.
We just don't. But if you want to know how to effectively minister to the people of this time, you got to go back and see what happened. But watch the Bible prophesy the mindset of what the person's going to be like. Micah 2:2. And it says, and they covet fields and take them by violence. So they'll come to a land and say, you know what? I don't care who on now. I done got something from my king or my queen. We're going to come take that land. We're going to put a flagpole in there. Boom, this America.
Yep.
This is ours.
Basically.
Which the Bible told you how it's going to happen. They was going to covet a field.
Yes, they were.
Take it by violence. Did that not happen?
Yes.
Everywhere. Came in there and took it by violence.
Yes.
And houses and take them away. Watch this. The mindset.
Right.
I ain't talking about your everyday co-worker you're working with. I'm talking about global leaders. Get that out your mind. Watch it. So that they oppress a man and his house. So we're going to oppress not just the man, but I want your household. Not just your household, but I want your heritage.
That's right.
It's your land, your house, and I'm going to steal your identity and become you.
That's right.
Zechariah 11:5. Who possessors slay them and hold themselves not what?
Guilty.
Now we're looking at all these shooters in the streets.
Come on now.
Slay them. What? Is this not happening?
Yes.
And they do what? Hold themselves what? You can look at the video showing you pop out. That ain't happening right there.
Right.
Well, we see it.
No, you didn't.
No, you ain't see that. He got something in his hand. So we was afraid that we had to shoot. You had something, sis?
I was just going to say, and that is the everyday person. That is the co-worker. When you have those discussions, and I'm not saying all, of course, but when you have these discussions, there really is a difference in mindset.
That's right.
We
Right.
really see things differently. And I actually taught a class, we were talking about Native Americans and their history. And funny enough, and this was 2004 or so, the students were saying that, they thought it was a good thing that it benefited the Native Americans. So there's something with with the thinking. There is a difference in thinking with the everyday person as well that we have to understand.
Good point. Good point. Go ahead, Elder, and we're going to keep going.
Yeah, the thing that I see is you can tell a person more from what comes out their mouth than what they look like. Because I've seen people who I know we are kin, no matter what they look like, because their opinions are right, their thought is right. And when you see people speaking like this young lady who's talking about her co-workers and stuff, something's wrong with them. It's just, the spirit of Jacob is not that. The spirit of Esau is that.
Yeah.
Jacob is hospitality. Jacob's prosperity. Jacob is, he had a set of characteristics that he passed on to his children. Not to make any of us perfect.
That's right.
But there's something really wrong with people that they don't have any concept that blood thirst is so great in them that they really do kill and think there's just nothing wrong with it at all. Right. They don't view other people as people. There's something psychologically wrong with it.
That's right. That's right. And we got to be able to come somewhere and be real and tell the truth. So if you haven't researched Willie Lynch, please do that. So let's look at what he did. This is one of the things Willie Lynch said. Now, it's a lot of stuff. I couldn't put it all in here because I'm trying to get through and get to community, common unity. But we got to deal with what came against our community. So watch it. It says, he said, I have a foolproof method for controlling your black slaves. Because I always wonder, how could like one slave master with a few, oppressors or guards control hundreds of slaves? But when you look up what they was doing and how they was killing, how they was lynching, and bringing all the other slaves out there, you'll understand. I guarantee everyone that if installed correctly, it will control your slaves for how long? At least 300 years.
Correct.
My method is simple. Any member of your family or your overseer can use it. I have outlined a number of differences among the slaves, and you take those differences and make them bigger. Watch this. This is why everybody else can come together but us. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. What are the major reasons why we can't come together?
Right.
Because we fear each other.
Yes, we do. We don't.
Especially the second one.
We distrust each other.
Yes,
we trust everybody else.
Everybody, including them.
We go in there and trust them Chinese folk.
Yes,
and them, you know, and they listen love. We trust everybody else. We'll have a sister trying to open up a nail salon. Yeah. But we won't support it.
Right.
Distrust and envy for control purposes that's working all the way up to the day. Take these little differences. There's intelligence, size, sex, size of plantations in the old male against the young male. So what we have to realize that we were studied.
Correct.
We were studied. They watched our interaction with each other.
That's right.
When we was one, they watched our interaction, the old, and we used to have so much respect for our elders.
Yes.
I used to have so much respect for our elders. You know what I'm saying? We would congratulate even when they was walking down the street, all type of things that we would do, that we would have. They said, we got to come in there and break that up.
Right.
But when they began to watch their husband and the wife,
yes,
and watch that wife respect that she had for her husband.
Right.
And she wasn't trying to get out in front of her husband and push her husband out the way and say and compete with her husband. But she had such a relationship that her husband love absorbed her.
That's
they
right.
was one in their interaction.
That's right.
They said, we got to break that up.
Yep.
So we got to break that up and make it the norm for a man and a woman in the black community not to have a relationship with each other, to fight with each other. So dark skin and light skin, fine hair against coarse hair, we get all that. House slave against field slave, old black male against young black male, status on plantations, attitudes towards owner, whether the slaves live in the valley, the east, the west, the north, and the south. One thing about that, I'm gonna say that real quick. One thing about this, they would fight the different slaves. Some slaves, they would bring from the east, the west, the north, and the south. Now you got to remember, we territorial people. So they would fight to their death. They would promise them that they would have freedom and stuff like that. So they would have to fight to their death, right? So what we So what we would do, we would be territorial upon where we was from, east side, west side. The same thing now. Most of us young men grew up. I grew up singing South Side, Brown Road. You know what I'm talking about? Fool with us.
Tell the truth.
The spirit don't change. No man after the flesh, but know them by what? They spirit. We territorial people. So we'll be ready to die for a street because it's our territory. Keep going.
Clicker hating on us.
All right, so what did we lose through oppression? Man, get this in you. We lost the perception of who we are. Right. Because your perception controls how you view your life. Your perceptions control your reality. So if I can change your perception of who you are, I can control you and your house.
That's right.
Your perception of why you exist. If you don't think that you're only supposed to exist to be a thug or to be a Beyonce, girls rule the world. If you think that's why you exist, you have no meaning, and this is why you can kill each other and not think about it, because you don't know why your purpose or why you're here. Why were you created? And the last thing, your sense of significance in the earth.
All right.
And the only thing that gave you all three of those is in the scripture, understanding that you Israel. All right, keep going. So we're gonna
click the next slide. Okay, move forward. The video is not going to play. But one thing that we can begin to talk about, click the next slide. When we look at melanin, let me go ahead and tell you all a quick story. Back maybe 10 years ago, I used to have these real bad acne breakouts. And so the acne would leave scars on my face, and so I used to go through and get these chemical peels, these microdermabrasions, these chemical peels, and my face was clearing up, the spots was going away, but there was a side effect that I didn't know that was going to happen. The side effect was that I began to get lighter. like Sammy Sosa. No, I wasn't that like that. I wasn't that like that. But no, I began to get lighter. But check out the psychological issues that I had. Although that's not what I was intending to attain once I began to get these treatments, I liked it.
See?
And I thought I looked better because of it. And so at that time, I wanted to do anything that could make me look more like my oppressor.
That's right.
So, hey, I'm a fan of all music, but at this time, I used to want to listen to certain music because I wanted to be more attributed to them.
That's right.
So I would listen to their style of music, and when I get around my brothers in the hood, turn that thing down a little bit. Can't pull up listening to that, not in the hood. But then when they go, I turn it back up. I would dress a certain way. I remember I used to be at work and they'd be like, oh, you don't, there was a white dude told me this. He was like, you don't sound black.
Yeah.
And I'm like, thank you. Like you might as well have a tail like, yo, he was straight cooning and you might have a tail like that. But no, this is true. This is true because I didn't see the value that I had. This stuff has been stripped from us.
Yes, sir.
They've trained us to look at ourselves a certain way, to look at ourselves to have lesser value. So one of the things that they make fun of us about, what, is our dark skin.
Correct.
Not knowing that the blackness that we attain is the fullness of color, and that whiteness is actually the absence of color.
Right.
So if you take paint, you mix paint together,
Yes.
you mix a bunch of paint together, what you gonna get?
Dark.
You're gonna get black.
Yeah.
You're gonna get black. This is why different shades of people can come from us. This is why the young man said Adam and Eve was the original man and woman, and they were black. They had to be in order to get these different variations in shade.
Correct.
Because if there was white, there would only be one group of people here.
Right.
So, I'm gonna get you in 1 second. So when you look at that, not only that, I saw this video about our melanin and how the UV rays affect us. When they looked at us through this lens, they saw like this real dark, oily looking figure, right? But when they looked at Caucasians, it was their skin was damaged. It looked terrible. It looked terrible. Now what did they do? They then put sunblock on them, and then they looked back at them through that lens, and what did they look like? They looked like us. While we have a natural built-in sunblock that we have had from the Most High, the Creator has given us because of where we were from. The original people of that land, they made us feel bad about it. Now we got people bleaching their skin to get rid of it.
And this is why we got to talk about this. Some people say, like, y'all shouldn't be talking. No. For the children's sake.
Hallelujah.
Because our babies growing up not liking their skin, not liking what they look like. Think they got to buy other doors, not liking their hair. This is extremely important to get them not to have to deal with. Because I grew up all my life not liking my skin, that I was dark skinned, man. All the doggone jokes you used to get. African Brutus stature. Oh, they go evening and walk in. You know what I'm saying? Talk about my dark skin, man. I didn't know that's what was my beauty. I didn't know that. And then, boy, I tell you what. I'm going to say this.
All right.
Light-skinned men, y'all had it going on in the 70s. The 80s. But when the Northerners got here, we stepped off that Mayflower board. Dark-skinned men became men. And we began to take over. We ain't turned it back over yet. I'm just playing. But the bottom line is, we have to teach our children, our family, because what? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But if a nation give you what to behold, it's beauty. And it's not you. Then you're gonna look at yourself as lesser. You're gonna hate your skin. You'll be surprised how many of our dark-skinned babies walking around hating themselves, crying, don't think they're beautiful, think they got to look like this or look like that, or think they got to do different things to their hair. When the Most High was made you beautifully and wonderfully made.
That's right. Hallelujah.
Now check this out. And I'm gonna get you. I haven't forgot about you. No, go back. This right here. The side note. What two things does Australia and Israel have in common? She already said, look at that. Give it up. Give it up. She said skin cancer.
That's right.
Why? A couple years ago, they were doing studies, and they determined that the #1 place for skin cancer, where the rates were the highest, was Australia. The second place was Israel. Now, why would these places, of all the places on the earth, have these issues?
Imposters in the land.
Because what? Say that again?
Imposters in the land.
They're imposters in the land. The natives of that area were melanated people.
Correct.
So now they have colonized that place and they've taken over. But the land, guess what? It's spewing them out. Like, yo, you don't belong here. You don't belong here. So when you look at the price of melanin, in comparison to what? Gold?
Yes.
Gold is, last time I checked, it was $33. Melanin was $400 a gram.
We know that.
So the very thing they have trained you to hate is the very thing they want to extract from you.
Exactly.
To make money off of.
Right.
Now I'm going to go ahead and get to you.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, this is important stuff.
Very.
I am so glad, thank you, that we are having this conversation. And as a relatively lighter-skinned black woman, we misunderstand and think just because someone may be a little lighter, that means they're mixed. I know my ancestors for at least 3 generations and nobody's white. We're black people. Somehow came out a little lighter. And I think we need to understand that we, and especially even people on a continent, when I talk to them, say, we're black people. We're African people. Some of us just may be a little lighter. Like he said, we have the full spectrum of colors. And when you look on the walls in Egypt, you see the different variations of us. We're not necessarily a mixed people, and all of our ancestors weren't raped, and we're not all a byproduct of raping. And so I think that that's so important to understand that the Most High made us as he did for his purpose. And I don't fully understand all of the melanin because, as I said, my family on both sides for the most part are very, very dark. And there's like a few of us. And on each side that might be a little lighter. And you say, what happened to me? You know what I'm saying? You know? And I think that's important because we allow them to create a division against us or between us because of our complexions, which we had nothing to do with, and it's not new. I think that's the main thing I want us to understand. We've been multiple complexions in a family. We are the same people. Some of us might be mixed, but a lot of us, just because they may be we're not mixed people. We're the same people. And I just think that we have to understand that and appreciate that about us, whether we are the very dark or the lighter, in between, wherever we are. That's the way the Most High chose to make us. And really we have to look at our spirit to see what spirit is operating in us.
Yeah, let's get these two sisters and then we're going to keep moving.
I personally want to say something as the Gentile, or not the only one now, but the Gentile in the congregation, that my people are so jealous of you all. So jealous that they make you guys hate each other and they do all these things so that they can take it for themselves. And then say, oh no, we created it, we did it, to the point where there's this white lady, her name is Martina Big, talking about that melanin. She gets melanin shots. She was my color, and now she's Moreh's color. Talking about, oh no, yes, Moreh's color, seriously, because I love the color, you know, I love the bodies, I love the bigger lips. She's done plastic surgery to get her body altered to try to be like y'all.
But they make fun of you when you have it.
And I was actually going to say exactly what that sister just said there. But if you look online now, a lot of these younger white kids, they're getting spray tans to look black. They're getting the braided hair. So it's envy. They are envious of us, and it's becoming more and more evident. You can see it. Our culture basically influences the whole world. You know?
And also, too, there's a process they utilize to make their hair look very ethnic, like the baby up front. Google it on YouTube. They're doing that now too as well. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, you're right. I think I seen a Korean guy. I'm like, ain't nowhere in the world this guy curled up like that.
Yeah. Our genetics. The way the Most High created us, we have what's called dominant genes. Caucasians, Europeans have what's called recessive genes.
Correct.
Black hair is what? Is a dominant gene. Blonde hair is a recessive gene. I'll just read this real quick. Eye color. Once again, this whole little thing is on display. Dominant allele plus dominant allele equals brown eye. Dominant plus recessive, brown eye. So, and that's not just when it comes to eyes, that's the same thing with hair, that's the same thing with our skin colors. This is why a black man or woman can have relations with a white man or woman and the children come out looking what? Because we have dominant genes. The Most High created us a specific way, and now we have been trained to look at ourselves in the inferior disposition. Recessive, you can only get recessive genes by being with someone else who has recessive genes. And this is why they didn't want us to mix. Because if we mix with them, we're not supposed to be mixing anyway. But that's a different story. I mean, that's my perspective. But anyway, if we mix with them, we will wipe them out. They wouldn't wipe us out.
Right.
So that threatens them and their livelihood, their population, their species, their type. It threatens them, not us. Next slide. It's the same thing, dominant recessive. It's the same thing with animals. It's the same thing with animals. The animals with darker hair have dominant genes. It's the same exact thing going on. And the last thing I want to touch on before I pass the mic back to Morris, when we look at our noses, we look at our noses, right? You can just look at this map right here. This is a heat map. You can identify what type of people are supposed to be in the land according to their features. Come on, brother.
Correct.
Check this out. You see where it has these red, these yellows, these oranges? Yes. Those are the larger nose people. Right. Our nose has a specific trait. It is to warm the air that we inhale. So we needed these type of noses and noses that we got.
Embrace it.
So that because of the lands where we're from. This is why they have so many issues when they go into these different places, because their body was never created to be in these specific locations.
That's right.
But yet, once again, the psychology that they've embedded in us is to hate all of these features. Where we want to get surgery on our noses, we want to change our lips, we want to get rid of our melanin. But all these things have an actual scientific purpose of our genetic disposition from the Creator, the Most High.
Yes, sir. And this is why this is so important, man. And no, we ain't up here tuning up on no music and dancing and gyrating and shouting, because we be doing that and just glossing over the real problem.
Correct.
A lot of your problems that you have with counseling is stuff that people grew up with. That's right. That this is the underlying thing that they're struggling with. Right. Low self-esteem, not loving themselves, all that type of stuff. It makes them react certain type of ways. Right. Make them reject people, make them want to fight people, make them look at people in an ill type of way. You know, we have to, if nowhere else somebody, we got to talk about this. Hallelujah. See what I'm saying? Keep going. Yes.
Next slide.
So we done got your color. Right. Say, I love my color. I love my nose. My wide nose. I love my forward lips. Next thing we're going to love is our hair. Now, this is something that's spiritual. Something that's spiritual. We wonder why these young, man, the Most High got some on these young people. You think they run around looking like buckwheat. Oh, what in the world going on? They twisting their hair. Niggas like a buckwheat. What in the world is that? Cut that mess off. Rest that thing. Most High said something.
You got an idea.
Y'all don't know what y'all was originally created for.
That's right.
Let's look at your hair now.
That's right.
The power that causes galaxies to spiral and planets and atoms to spin, that causes the double helix in the spiral of DNA molecules. This is the same spiraling power that causes what? Spiraling what? Your hair goes from your head in a spiral. Right. Otherwise known as nappy, kinky, curly, frizzy, wavy, woolly hair. I like that. Nappy, kinky, curly, frizzy, wavy, woolly hair. One more time, say nappy, kinky, curly. Hey. One more time, hey. Oh. One more time. The words men and spiral and are spiritual, where we get the term from, have common roots. The supreme power spins on the Most High spins. Spirals is spiritual. It moves as the spirals on the universe, the planet spiral. The entire universe dances in spirals and rotation. Everything reflects from a spiraling spiritual essence out of which it is made. The spiral, especially the golden spiral, simultaneously the most profound motion designed in the universe, built from all life forms, from seashells to man. Spiraling nappy hair, your blood spirals through your vein. Plants spiral up from the soil. The nappy hair spirals from the hair roots. Ball your hand up in the fence and you'll see that the way that your hand is created in what? Spirals. Hair is an extension of the nervous system. It can be correctly seen as exterior nerves, a type of highly evolved feelers, an antenna that transmit vast amounts of important information to the brain stem, the limbic system, and the neocortex. This is why they make you hate even your hair texture.
That's right.
Want you to straighten it when it's spiritual and it's your connection with the Most High. All right. Now we make you feel good about yourself. You all right? We might can build a little community now. I feel good about how I look. I like my dark skin. You like your brown skin. We like all that. We like our hair, our nose, and then our lips. Now we might can do something, right? Let's see what we can do. How many of us? Oh, you got some sense. Go ahead.
I feel like they did all that, you know, making us hate each other and stuff for us to, like, you know, forget who we are and not pay attention to the Bible and stuff. Because if we all, like, all around each other be like, oh, we dark, we light, oh, you're here and this, we're going to forget about the most important thing of, like, you know, we the chosen ones, we the ones, you know, stuff like that.
That's great. That's a great point. That's a great point, sis. Big distraction. All right, so how many of us believe that we can reverse the curses? Y'all been getting taught here. All right, let's see. All right, so the reverse of the curse is going to bring us community. Let's prove, according to scripture, that you can reverse the curses. So let's look at this. Leviticus 26. Now, if y'all want to know what repentance is, biblical repentance, you got to go to the Torah first.
Correct.
And see where it's at. Hey, hallelujah. Watch what it says. You have to do this if you haven't done this. Because you got stuff coming out of your bloodline as a nation and as an individual. If they confess their iniquities, not just theirs, but the iniquities of their fathers, which they trespass against me, that I also walk contrary unto them, and that I also, they walk contrary unto me, and I also walk contrary unto them, and brought them into the land of their enemies. If their uncircumcised hearts be what? Humble, and then they accept the punishment of their iniquity. What does that mean? To accept the punishment of your iniquity. Take responsibility. What are we saying? Most High, what you sent us through was just and right.
Right, yes.
Because we broke the covenant. And when you really go back and study ancient covenants, you'll see we had to get the beating we got.
Yes.
When you really research a blood covenant to the Eastern mind and you break that, we had to get what we had. You had some other?
I think y'all might disagree with me, but I think if we really,
let me get you.
I think if we really studied that statement you just made, that why we're going through what we're going through, why our ancestors went through that, is because of disobedience. And so I always hear people really upset with our brothers and sisters, what they've done to us, but we understand that had to happen because of our disobedience.
We can't disagree with that, because that's scripture.
So we don't have to hate.
Yeah.
Why hate?
Exactly.
That had to happen to us.
Exactly.
Hallelujah.
That's right. But we gotta hate everybody then if you're gonna hate.
Yes,
if you hate these people, then you gotta go get Assyria. You gotta hate the Assyrians. You're gonna hate the Assyrians, you gotta hate the Babylonians.
That's right.
Hate the Babylonians, then you gotta hate the Grecians. You hate the Grecians, then you gotta hate the Romans. You hate the Romans, then you gotta hate the Islam.
That's right.
You gotta hate the Moors. There's a lot of folk you gotta hate.
Right. It's too much.
I go watch it, but the Most High gonna get who he gonna get.
Oh, yeah.
They gonna get theirs now. Don't worry about that.
That's what he said.
Then will I remember the covenant with Jacob and also the covenant with Isaac and also the covenant with Abraham. But I will remember the land. And yet for all that when they be in the lands of Israel, I will not cast them away, neither will I harbor them, to destroy them utterly, to break my covenant with them. For I am Yahuwah their Elohim. But I will for what? Their sake. For whose sake? Remember what? So it's no way when we return back unto him with all our heart, mind, and soul that we can still be cursed. He said he would remember the covenant and for our sakes turn our captivity. Keep going. Let's get one more. I'm going to read this kind of fast. 1 Kings 8. I'm showing you.
All right.
If they sin against thee, this is Solomon talking, for there's no man that sinneth not. And thou be angry with them, and to deliver them to the enemy, so that they are carried away captives unto the land of their enemy, far and what? Near. Yet if they what? Bethink themselves, where? Where? What are we doing now? We bethinking ourselves. We're repenting. We are recounting these things. Bethink themselves in the land whether they were carried away captives, and do what? Repent and make supplications unto you in the land that they were carried away captives, and say, we have sinned and have done perversely, just like Mother was saying, and committed what? Wickedness. And so return unto thee with all thy heart, with all thy soul in the land of their enemies, which they led away captives, and pray towards their land that thou gavest to their father, the city which thou hast chosen, and the house that thou hast built for my name. Then what? I will hear their prayer, their supplication in heaven, and they dwell in place, and do what? I'm going to maintain their cause. Everything you put your hands to don't prosper. That's what you did, the prerequisite of what it takes in the land of your captivity. Y'all, we got to keep moving. Let's keep going. Now, this is for what's going to happen.
Right.
Deuteronomy 7, got to read this fast. But thou and holy people unto Yahuwah our Elohim, Yahuwah thou Elohim have chosen us to be a special people unto itself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Yahuwah did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because you were more in number, and for ye are the fewest of all people, but because Yahuwah loved you, because you kept, I read that too fast. Because Yahuwah loved you, and because he would keep his oath, which he swore unto who?
Your father.
This ain't even about you.
No, it's about my daddy.
This is about an oath that he kept with your father, that he promised that he'll keep the seed.
That's right.
When Yahuwah brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you out of the house of bondage and from the hand of Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, know therefore that Yahuwah thy God is our Elohim, thou faithful Elohim, which keepeth his covenant and his mercy with them that love him and keep his commandments. If we keep his commandments, he's going to give us mercy and love us through what? How many generations? Verse 10. Watch this one here.
All right.
And repay of them.
Yes.
That hate him to their face.
Yes.
So I say, I'm going to get in their face. Woo. To destroy them. Yep. He will not be slack to him that hate him.
Right now he got it.
He will repay him to his
face.
Hallelujah.
They don't know it's him. Yep.
You was reading those scriptures so fast, I thought I was at an auction for a minute.
Right now.
Oh, Deuteronomy. Oh, Soul Chronicles for 300.
All right, let's get into it. Restoring the kingdom, because when you repent, you start ushering in and becoming the kingdom. Because the kingdom is what? Common unity, which is what? Community.
Right.
Now, before you can really go on and establish the community, we need to know what it is that community actually entails. So once again, community defined, community is a social group of any size whose members reside in a specific locality, share government. What's our government?
Torah.
That's our government. And often have a common what?
Culture.
And what?
Historical heritage.
That is community.
Yes.
That is community. And now it's time for us to begin to establish what it is. So every community will fail without accountability. This is highly important. This is highly important.
If this happened, y'all.
We already know. We know what accountability is. Now, who held King Saul accountable? We have examples of accountability within the text. Some of the things, one of the issues that we have, we don't want to be held accountable. We have a lot of people nowadays, once again, as I mentioned earlier, who are trying to teach and don't want to be held accountable for what it is that they're teaching, who are making themselves leaders and don't want to be held accountable. So they're doing a lot of things that are stepping out of the will of the Most High. And no one is holding them accountable.
Say it. That's right.
that will cause a community to crumble every single time. So, who held King Saul accountable? Say it again? All right, that's what I'm talking about. Y'all know what y'all talking about up in here. Some of you over there start doing sacrifices. Who's supposed to be doing the sacrifices?
Priest.
The priest, right? He said, I'm going to just read some of the white. So Saul said, bring the burnt offering here to me. This was because Samuel was delayed.
Right.
So Saul said, bring the burnt offering here to me and the peace offerings. And he offered the burnt offering. They walked around like he didn't know what was wrong. Samuel told this dude, what have you done? And Saul said, when I saw that the people were scattering from me, and that you did not come with the days appointed, and that the Philistines have mustered at Michmash, I said, now the Philistines will come down against me at Gilgal, and I have sought the favor of Yahuwah, so I forced myself and offered the burnt offering. And Samuel said to Saul, you have done foolishly. He wasn't passive about it. There's a way to correct someone, right? But this is a prophet talking to the king. This is a prophet talking to the king. He told him, yo, you wasn't supposed to do that. And now what happened because of that? You have not kept the command of Yahuwah your God, which he commanded you. For then Yahuwah would have established your kingdom over Israel forever.
Wow.
So he lost the Davidic covenant.
That's right.
Saul had his opportunity for it. And he blew it. But once again, the main point of this is to show you that there are checks and balances within the text. And even today, when we begin to establish community, when we congregate together, when we gather, when we begin to develop these relationships and someone's not doing what they're supposed to do, yo, you pull them aside, you talk to them.
That's right.
Hey, come on now, get it together. You know you're supposed to be doing that. Come on now, let's move on. We can't be holding on to these things for the past.
That's right.
All right, that's another one with Saul because he's hard-headed. We just go ahead and move with the next one. Who held King David accountable?
Nathan.
There we go. I love y'all. I'm telling y'all, I know y'all scriptures. Nathan held David accountable. Y'all can just write down 2 Samuel 5 through 15. Write it down for your references. We want to make sure that we have enough time for us to break bread together. But you all are correct. Nathan held David accountable when he went into someone else's wife.
Yeah. And this is why we finna run through it, but this is why this is important. This is why the emas, the mothers, and the elders as men, we need you.
Correct.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
We need you. We need your wisdom for the young women. To be able to teach them and let them see what not to do, not to get caught up. Because it shouldn't be now that a man can trick you into sleeping with you.
Hallelujah.
Not when you can have an ema that you can go to that can give you wisdom and understanding. You know what I'm saying? Men, we should not be going out of town, even touring or teaching without an accountability partner.
Hallelujah.
I would never go out of town without Josh or my wife. Because women approach you different when you by yourself.
They sure do.
It's time out for that running into women and running off and sleeping with stuff and all that type of stuff. We got to have accountability. That's why we got a set of mothers in Augusta. They make sure I stay straight. My wife makes sure too. She got sisters in every city. In every city. But it's important for the men and the elders to stand up and let's teach the younger men how to be. And know the women, and then when you do that, be real with them now. Don't be acting like you ain't never messed up, that you ain't never did that, the man ain't never took advantage of you. We got to be 100% real, because image, we got to be done with that. I'm done with image. Y'all know me, I tell anything that I done did, because I don't care nothing about trying to make my name great in life. I don't care about what you think like that. Because what? I'm tired of all that. It's time to live righteously and live right and stop playing. If I'm struggling, I ought to be able to call you and say, bro, I'm struggling.
All right.
I'm having a problem with pornography. I'm having a problem with this. I don't care nothing about what you think. I need help. See what I'm saying? All right, let's keep going.
So what happens when a community, what happens to a community when there is a lack of accountability? People will do what is right in their own eyes. All we have to do is look at the book of Judges. I don't even need to put nothing else up here. I ain't need no Proverbs, no Isaiah, no nothing. All you got to do is look at the book of Judges and see what happens when people do what is right in their own eyes. We talk about the captivities. How many captivities did we go in Judges?
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
11 of them. Like, yo, every time you look around, like you blink and we in another captivity. We gotta hold each other accountable. There's nothing wrong with that. That is actually vital. It's pivotal to our progression as a people, as a community, as we are gathering together. We have to do these things, or we will continue to do the same thing and spin our wheels as we have been doing. Y'all get the benches. Proverbs 12:15. The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but a wise man listens to advice. Judges 17:6. In those days there was no king. Everyone did what was right in their own eyes. Refer to this video later for the rest of the scriptures, but they're up there. People will do what is right in their own eyes. So we gotta hold each other accountable, have each other's back. Iron sharpers iron, and one man sharpers another. James 5:16. Therefore, confess your sins to one another and pray for one another.
Yes. Not talk about. Not put business out.
Hallelujah.
Not putting out. You didn't talk somebody in confidence. Now you done put it all over Facebook.
That's
No. We can't live like that. We're going to have community. We got to work together. We got to be what to cover our brother and cover our sister. If the Most I show you something that's in somebody, you don't go around talking about that they wicked and they this and that. No, you begin to pray for them.
Right. Ripper, one of the things he said about the Willie Lynch letter is one of the pivotal things that we have issues with is trust. We distrust each other. You want to know the biggest way to burn a bridge? Let me tell you something. And I found out that somebody else then said it, and now it's going around the room. That's the biggest way for us, for that bridge to get burned.
Yes, sir.
I can never trust him again. It would be so hard for that. So we got to make sure that when we pray for one another, and we know what's going, and we should be doing this. We should be developing these relationships to where we can pull and glean from each other, where we can rely on one another. When we're weak, the other person is strong.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So we should be able to pull on one another when in our times of need, that you may be healed. The prayer of a righteous person has great power as it is working. Hallelujah. And we're all familiar with this one, Ecclesiastes 4:9-12. Two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their toil. For if they fall, one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him who is alone when he falls,
right now,
and has not another to lift him up.
Hallelujah.
Again, if two lie together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? And though a man might prevail against one who is alone, two will withstand him. And a threefold cord is what?
And this is why it's important, and what we're doing is rebirth. That's what I'm saying. In each city, where you have a council where people can go to, because sometimes things happen. You know, even me, you know, as the head, if I fall and mess up, God forbid, but if I fall and mess up, I shouldn't be keep going around teaching.
That's right.
Ought to be a time where I can go to somebody else and then sit down and somebody run Augusta for me.
Say it.
So I get myself together.
That's right.
Because if you teach me that it's okay,
Hallelujah.
then I'm going to keep doing it.
All right.
So this is why it's good to have systems set up with mothers
Hallelujah.
and young skilled sisters in the scriptures and elders, so what we can keep each other and keep that bond so it won't happen. But if it does happen, we got a system set up to do it.
Right.
We got a spirit to do what?
Hallelujah.
Restore a brother.
Right.
Restore a
Hallelujah.
sister.
Hallelujah.
Okay, what was community like for our ancestors? This excerpt is from Daily Life in Biblical Times by Oded Borowski. This is about the family structure, the way that they live their houses, the way that they maintain their households. We're going to refer to this later, towards the end of this lesson. The family. The nuclear family was the cornerstone of Israelite society in general and in village society in particular. But since the economy demanded large human resources, keep that in mind, the nuclear family joined with others in a larger unit. The extended family, which sometimes included up to 3 generations. The extended family included the grandmother, the grandfather, the grandmother, their unmarried daughters, their sons, married and unmarried, and their sons, wives, and children. All of these lived in what?
1 4-room house. Wow.
Or in a complex made of several attached houses. In addition, I'm going to refer back to this later. In addition, a compound house, unrelated people who were considered part of the extended family.
Man, that's good.
Hallelujah.
Keep those things in mind.
Man, that's good. Oh, we got to move, y'all.
All right.
Yeah.
I broke that down on another video.
Yes.
Go look at Ezekiel 37 online. That'll break that down. Let's keep moving. We're going to do this real quick. way we're going to reverse the curse with our identity, we begin to claim our heritage, according to Isaiah 44. Let's do that. That's the first form of community, claiming who we are. Let's keep going. We're going to run through this. All right, and remembrance, Deuteronomy 32 and 26, it said, I will scatter them, and I will make the remembrance of them from cease among men. And when you look at our ancestors, everywhere they went that the Most High did something, they built an altar there in remembrance that further generations can see what was done. You can read it there, Genesis 12 and 7. And you can look at the video we did on reversing the curses to get that. So what is one of the things that was already a mark of remembrance? We want to put marks of remembrance here. First African Baptist Church was built by our ancestors, still standing beautiful. If you've ever been there, it is gorgeous, immaculate, with Hebrew written on the pews. Now, when you do tours, now they try to say that it's Arabic and all that kind of stuff. Say, you know, they need a whole nother thing, but no. It's Hebrew. Let's keep going. What's another monument that we made here? Our ancestors already put monuments in America. What we gonna do? Next thing, Tulsa, Oklahoma. The monument there, we built 21 churches, 21 restaurants, 30 grocery stores, 2 movie theaters, plus a hospital, a bank, a post office, library, schools, law office, half a dozen private airplanes,
and a pear tree.
Even a bus system. The dollar circulated 36 to 1,000 times. If they did that already here, where they built monuments that we can look and get encouraged, now what we gonna do? Let's keep going.
All right.
Okay, what things are needed for a community to thrive? Next slide.
Economic curses. Let's get our money together.
What is human resources? Okay, we're gonna run through this real quick. Just go ahead and go to the next slide. Resources are things that are considered an asset, whether it's an item or whether it's a person. When we think about human resources, a lot of us immediately will go to what our jobs talk about, human resources. But no, the greatest resource here on earth is your neighbor. And that person is an asset. That person is something that you can draw from, that can help you become wealthier, that can help you become stronger, that can help you accomplish a task. That is the greatest resource that we have, is people. It's people. So the paradigm shift. How do we begin to right this ship? One of the things that we like to do. Okay, look, it's great to go over all these things, but do we have something tangible? Do we have something functional that we can throw out there, that we can implement in our day-to-day lives, that can show us what this community building is about, right? Check this. Community living. What do I mean by community living? Remember on that slide where I said we were going to refer back to, where they said that the grandmother, the grandfather, the children, and all of those live in one home or attached homes? Think about how if you had someone who you were close to, and if you two decided to do some form of community living together, how you would automatically retain more of your resources. What do I mean by that? More of your dollars.
Yes,
you now have more spending power. All right? So one thing that in our community that we like to do is when our children get 18, what we like to do?
Kick them out.
Get out of here. That fails the children before they even start. But while other nations, other people, they will keep their children while they're in college at 24, 25, 26 years old. They're married and they're all living in the same house. There's a family that live next to me. I don't know how many people is in this house, but it ain't one family. It definitely ain't one family, but you know what? Those people have a lot more money because all the bills and the expenses are being spread out amongst multiple adults. So they have more spending power. If they want to create businesses, they don't have to automatically beg for money. They may already have the reserve within their own household. So when our children, as we raise them up, don't be so quick to throw them out there into the world. We need to begin to implement this type of community living. Why? Because this is something that our ancestors did.
That's right.
And now every other culture around us who are at a higher level financially is doing the same exact thing. So this is something that we need to consider, look at it, examine it, see if it's something that you can implement now with maybe a real close friend or something, where you can share the rent or something like that. And then we can move on and start some of this community living. Group economics, I don't want to spend too much time on group economics, but what that is that's starting businesses, hiring your own people, buying the land that the businesses own. You know what I'm saying? So these type of things are important. But guess what? If we strap for cash, then how can we do that? So this is why something like community living could benefit you, because once again, you have more dollars to go around. This is something tangible that you all should keep in mind to refer back to later.
And let me say this, before you go out and do your business, let's practice group economics with supporting your assemblies.
Correct.
Because it takes money to cut lights on, to rent places. And we really got to look at, man, we got to start bonding ourselves together so we can make these things happen. I said in Augusta, we ain't finna move on projects till we can see we can handle this right here.
That's right.
When we can maintain this building,
that's right,
and then get some surplus, then we'll do other projects.
Hallelujah.
We ain't got no building for where we trying to build no big old building, but we ought to be able to sustain where we worshiping at.
That's right.
Homeschooling. Once again, we're trying to develop community, right? One of the things that we should be looking forward to be our goal. I know it's not easy for everyone. Don't get me wrong. I understand that. What I'm saying is this is something that we should attempt to strive for.
That's right.
I'm not trying to say everyone should be doing it right now. Stop what you're doing and just homeschool. No, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying it's something, listen, we're allowing our oppressors to teach our children.
That's right. Hallelujah.
Does that make any sense?
No.
To allow your oppressor to teach your child and then they come home and you think you're going to be able to overrule what the teachers are saying? This is why there's so much conflict and confusion within the children, because they're getting two different stories.
They are.
They're getting two different stories. So this is something that we need to strive for. Growing our own food, we've talked about that on multiple occasions. All of these things I'm going to go back over in another lesson so I can do these things in more detail, because I want to give you functional stuff that you can implement. Bartering. We're going to touch on that in just a second. And holding each other accountable, we've already discussed that.
Let's bankrupt the strangers. Y'all already know that scripture.
Yeah.
Let's bankrupt the strangers and start working within our own. You see what I'm saying? And let's create black privilege with what we do with each other and what we do with our finances. I ain't got to go over there what the scripture declares what's going to happen to us. The Jewish people come in our community, the Arabs come in our community, Asians, everybody come in our community to get our money, but us. They won't let us and none of theirs to get theirs. I wish you would try to go in the Jewish community and set up a business as a black man. See once you get bounced out. Let's keep going. The same thing, build our own stores, barter system. He just talked about that, where we got some sisters that can sew.
Hallelujah.
We got some sisters that can bake, that can make food. We got all types of things that we can do now. If you're going to create a business now, come on now, let's do it right. You say your store going to open up at 12, open up at 12. Be there. We want to support y'all, but don't, come on now, don't embarrass us.
Don't make it hard to support you. Please. Don't do that. Like, don't put an obstacle in front of us to support you. But one thing about bartering, we don't got time for all that. We ain't got time for that. One thing about bartering is, like you said, we have people in here who can sew. Some people in here know how to make fringes. Some people in here already grow their own food. If we were to establish these systems, this is stuff that we can practice in our day-to-day lives. This brother does gardening and agriculture. So if you wanted him to put together something in your backyard for you to be able to grow just a small plot or something for you to grow your land, if you have something that you can give him, he can do that. Right. These are things that, come on, these are things that we can do every day. You don't even have to have a business. Exactly. You don't even have to have an actual business. You just have to have something that someone else desires. That's right.
Exactly. Y'all, we got to keep going. We're going to get to y'all. We're going to get the idea at the end. We got to keep going. Let's go past all that. We didn't talk to that. We talked that. Let's get on down. Let's keep going. We can talk about that. Eat better. We can talk about that. Let's build family. That's important right here. Build family. All right. This is extremely important, because none of this matter if we ain't got these marriages together.
All right now.
I'm just tired of seeing failed marriages.
All right.
What the scripture says, my people are destroyed for lack of what?
Of knowledge.
Sometimes this lack of knowledge is the reason that our families are failing. Watch this, man. Pay attention to what I'm saying. I ain't just a young man teaching this. This is something that my father been a marriage counselor and teacher for almost 30 years. Everybody in Augusta know who he is. Other pastors go to him for counseling. That don't mean that I had everything right. I had to walk some of those things out. So watch this. I'm going to tell you, every time a man is mad,
that's what?
Women, pay attention, because it's going to hit you. So me and my wife developed. When you see your man upset, it's because of this. Watch this.
Go.
A man needs respect.
Woo!
Like breathing out.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Anytime that man upset, it's something that he feel like he's disrespected on. A man can't handle that. It's in him. So if he be disrespected, he gonna shut down on you. He's gonna be walking around here. Just tell me what's wrong with you. I just want to know. Seem like you done got quiet. Why you ain't saying nothing? Why you ain't talking to me? What's wrong? Just tell me what's wrong. Speak. That ain't gonna help it.
No.
That'll be a woman of grace and wisdom.
Yes.
Say, okay, you might need your time.
Patience.
You might need your break for a minute. Then let's come back. Let's talk when both of our heads are cool. Because in the end, what we don't want is our children to see us act a certain way and then don't desire to be married because of what we do.
Hallelujah. That's right.
Watch this. A man needs respect. The second thing a man needs.
Mm-hmm.
You might get aggravated by this. A man needs sex. Brother,
Speak
say
up.
amen.
That's right. All right.
We built different.
Should be clipped. It should be clipped.
We need it.
Tell it. Thank you.
You can't let that man don't be looking at me like that woman. I'm trying to help your relationship out.
That's right. Tell it. Tell it.
That man can't go no 5 weeks and you ain't gave him nothing. He gonna be mad all week. Why you just so aggravated? Every time he say he aggravated because you ain't gave him nothing. Then the man got to fight all day. He got to fight all day. He go to work and women wearing them tight pants. They looking at trying to switch in front of him. Then you go home to a mad woman. And at work, hey Mo, how you doing? Ain't no hey Mo. You know, all that. Yo, they gon' desire that. So a man, you got to know how long your man can go.
That's right.
My wife know. 3 days.
Okay.
Boom.
Be honest.
My wife called it the side ministry. She said, hey, I just turn to the side on you, go ahead, do your thing. I'll be like, thank you. Because I needed this. I need the side ministry. We ain't got to get tired and all that tonight.
Yeah,
I just need something.
That's right.
I go to bed happy. And go to work happy.
Wake up happy.
Think about that woman all day.
Yes, hallelujah.
See what I'm saying? Sometimes see that man off the work thinking about you. Ooh, when you wake up, he ain't gonna be looking. Don't be looking down now, women. Don't be looking down. I'm trying to help you. That's what that man needs. Now, man, don't get crazy. Now, don't get nasty. Now, don't just fall in love with the release that you ain't been intimate with your wife.
That's right.
We're gonna get to that in a minute. Another thing a man needs is praise and adoration. We are made in the image of the Most High. The Most High loves praise. He loves adoration, and He built that in me. This is why when another woman praise your man and you're not praising him, he begins to lean towards
That's
you.
right.
Because a man is what draws to praise.
That's right.
I ain't saying like you praising him like he your whore. Say, baby, I just love you. My wife know how to do it. Say, baby, you worked on that thing. Look at you. Did that. Did something to me when you did that.
Side ministry.
Or if I go do a speaking engagement, she say, baby, you did that. Wait till you get home. Wait till you get home. Hey, praise, but you got to know his language of praise. Every man's language of praise ain't the same.
That's right.
See what I'm saying? Study your man.
Study him.
Fourth thing, he needs his woman by his side supporting his goal.
That's right.
The Most High gave that man a vision and a direction, and he got to fight you before he get it out. You won't even support him. He already getting fights from everybody. And he's sharing his heart with you. And this is something that the Most High put on his heart. Now, men, I ain't saying now, because you can't be no thing that every week you got a new thing that the Most High gave you. You ain't sustained the last thing. Then that woman gonna look at you like you crazy.
That's right.
Stay with the decision that you made.
Right.
Fix that first, and then move on. But a man needs your support. He needs you on his side. He needs you right by his side. Even if you don't understand everything, pray to the Most High and ask him to help you understand where your husband is at. You see what I'm saying? All right, let's get to, I need to have my wife do this part, but let's get to 4 things a woman need.
All right. Tell the truth.
Women need intimacy.
True.
with their mind,
That's right.
emotions,
Yes.
and sensitivity to their
Hallelujah.
needs.
That's right.
They ain't just about having sex.
Right.
You got to deal with that woman early in the morning, being sensitive, to being into her desires, her visions, her goals, where you're paying attention to the things that she says.
Hallelujah.
Even when she's just telling you about her day, I had to learn that she don't want me to fix nothing.
Nothing.
Just sit there and listen to me.
That's
Right.
right.
I'm trying to just get this done. I'm trying to help you with the business. I go to the job now. What I need help. Baby, I just want you to hear me out.
That's
I want
right.
to know that you at least care about what I'm concerned about.
Right.
And I begin to listen to what she's concerned about. I
Hallelujah.
say, you know what?
That's right.
I'm going to pay attention to that. I'm going to repeat what she said so she understands that I'm listening and that I desire to be with her with whatever she's going through. And then, and then I'm sensitive to her needs. Because I used to be a very insensitive person. My wife had problems expressing herself and letting me know what was wrong. And then she used to write me a letter. Don't write me no letter. Talk! Tell me what's wrong with you. I don't want to read nothing. But that's how she expressed herself until she got able to really express her full concerns to me. So I had to be very sensitive to her needs. I had to learn how to be careful even with my words. You can't holler at a woman and think you're going to get her to do anything.
That's right.
Woman got to shut off by her.
Tell it.
You yell at her, it's over. So you got to be sensitive to her needs. Another thing a woman needs is security. Financial.
Yes.
What love got to do with it?
Yes.
I'm going to tell you, you'll lose your woman now if she in a financial crisis and she see you ain't being a man. She'll lose respect for you. And it's hard to gain that back. You see the family struggling, but you still sitting on the couch.
Uh-oh.
You ain't going out there trying to get
All right
to a
now.
new job, trying to do. You will lose her respect because she needs financial security. And she needs protection. That's what she needs. Am I right, women?
Yes.
And then a woman needs a vision to support. Don't be going around here and say, yeah, I got this, I'm the head, no, you ain't going nowhere. Where we going as a family? What's our direction in the next 5 years? What are we doing? What's our next step? What's our next move? Because you give a woman a vision, boy, she will take that thing and
run
make
with
it
it.
immaculate.
Yes.
You give your woman something, she'll take it to the 10th power.
Yes.
But if you back and forth, she don't know, she can't trust you, every other week you got something different. She ain't got no vision or goal to support you. And last thing, that woman need to know that she can depend on you. Know her man would do whatever it takes to take pressure off her. Because a man was built for pressure. A woman wasn't built for pressure.
Right.
A man can handle pressure, a woman can't, but a woman can handle pain better than a man. A man can't handle no pain. So you have to take the pressure off of her. And she got to know, now please now, I know we done watched Cinderella growing up. Don't think you're going to get a mansion in your first 2 years of marriage. That man he trying to work. He working at Burger King right now. You ain't got no mansion money. Slow down. Work with that man. Don't get aggravated, but you see him working towards that goal. So work with him. Let's go to the next thing. Did that help you?
Yes, it did.
All right, this is very important. Very important. The state of the union. It should become a time in your marriage once every 3 months where you have a state of the marriage. Baby, now it's gonna get a little rough in the beginning. So baby, how am I doing as a husband?
That's right.
From your point of view. Be ready now. Or she say, well baby, how am I doing as a wife? What can I do better as your husband? Because sometimes you can have said something a week ago that she still holds.
That's right. Hallelujah.
That needs to come out in the state of the marriage. Say, baby, I ain't like when you said that. They kind of did something to me that hurt me. You know, you wonder why she mad. You put a toothpaste in the sink and she just then flipped up the toilet bowl and knocked out everything. She ain't mad about the toothpaste. She mad about what you said a week ago. And it's coming out then. Same thing with a man. So you need to have a state of the marriage. Where are we at? How are we doing? How am I doing as your husband? What can I do better to do what? Serve you.
Hallelujah.
Know how to confront problems without offending.
All right.
You don't come to your husband and say, yeah, you've been stupid all month with your dumb self. That ain't how you do it. Watch this wisdom. Go get a book called Confronting Without Offending. Powerful way. Watch this right here. I got out this book. Praise Well, I ain't on that part yet. Seek to understand before being understood. When you're
right.
conflicting and talking about something serious, right? I want to make sure I fully understand your perspective before I try to defend myself, or before I'm offended by what you said. So I'm completely listening at what you're saying so I can make sure I understand your point of view, then I tell you my point of view. Then we'll try to meet in the middle. Because in the end, I'm not trying to intentionally hurt you, and I don't want you, I believe you would intentionally hurt me.
That's right.
So that'll help me not be so sensitive about things that, because my husband would not hurt me intentionally. All right, the next thing, bread meet bread. This will help you. My wife knows what's going on when I do it now. Oh, you using that bread meet bread method. I see. Watch this. When you're talking about something serious,
yes,
I do the same with her. You start off with a praise.
That's right.
Baby, I love the way you've been handling things as a man, the way you've been doing stuff, the way you teach, the way you take care of the house. You're giving them a praise. Then you get to the meat. I had a problem with this thing. Something that you said, something that you did. And then you end with a praise. But you know, if we can get past that, you know, because my heart is to love you. My heart is for the relationship to work. So I don't want any inconsistencies in our relationship. You started off with, how can you get crazy about that? Start off with a praise, deal with the meat, and then end with a praise. So you ain't crazy. You know what I'm saying? It take a while, because sometimes you don't like what she said at first, and you're going to get mad. Girl, I ain't did that. And she don't get to the meat. You see what I'm saying? All this stuff helps. All right, problem resolution. So now, if I know I messed up, I got to identify what I did wrong. Don't be acting like you don't know what you did. You know what you did. I was wrong. I identified. I'm admitting to it. Now I'm finna do whatever I can to make it right. I'm finna repent. I'm finna make this thing right. Then forgiveness can come. Then healing can come. And then what? Restoration can come. But it has to go through these process of things where we're really working with each other. All right, next thing. Did that help you? Yeah. All right, so what about if I have spouses that's not in the truth?
Well,
it's going to help. All right, and I'm going to paraphrase all this. 1 Corinthians, I got to run through 1 Corinthians 7, it says that the unbelieving wife or unbelieving husband is sanctified by the believing wife or the believing husband. Right. All right, what does that mean? When we get the right concept of what salvation means, what happened to Rahab?
Right.
Rahab's whole house was what? Saved, sanctified because of her decision to believe in what the Israelites told her. So they carried out with her.
Right.
That don't mean that everybody's born again in your house.
Right.
But when salvation comes, the second Exodus, everybody will be able to come with you, right? Let's keep going. So, Isaiah 11. Now, you have to understand that you have to use wisdom. You have to become a person of wisdom when you're dealing with your spouse. Because a lot of times you can be excited about something new, and she can then look, or he can then look at your inconsistencies that you didn't have. Every few years you're in a new religion. And you wonder why they ain't coming.
All right now.
You have to be honest with yourself. I ain't been consistent as I need to be. And that's a conversation you have to have. But then you have to say, okay, what better way to draw somebody other than just speaking? You got to quit doing this. Trying to talk them into it. You ain't going to talk nobody into nothing. Oh, baby, if you can just get the truth, if you can just see the truth, if you can just see, if you keep saying, you see the truth, we in the truth, why you ain't in the truth? What is that making him or her feel? Like they dumb, like they don't know nothing. Like they just, you like almost like you just completely separating from it. Because what, you ain't using the right type of wisdom. What you're supposed to do first, internalize the message. Make you become a better husband or a better wife. When you start taking the things of the culture and becoming one with it, and not just doing a lot of talking, but walking that thing out.
That's right.
As a man, baby, how can I serve? Baby, this is direction that the Most High is leading me as a husband and the family, and I just want to show you why. I'm not putting no pressure on you. I'm not trying to drag you into it, but this is what he's leading me to go to. Because can't nobody move your spouse but the Holy Spirit. Best believe they looking at everything you do. You think you ain't been effective, but boy, you've been very effective with it. They see how consistent that you are being with it, and how you're allowing it to change you and allowing you to serve them as a husband or as a wife. You're internalizing this information and becoming one. But what do? Isaiah 11. The spirit of Yah rests upon me, the spirit of wisdom. Now I got the knowledge, but how can I study my spouse to get it to so they can understand it without offending them? Oh yes, I got to study now.
Oh, there you go.
How does my wife learn? How does my husband learn? How can I show them this in wisdom?
That's right.
Without just telling them, oh, you stupid for going to church. You going to church, you need to get out of there. You so stupid. All y'all stupid. Because we go through an angry phase when we wake up. And we say everybody in church stupid. All these church folk. And you saying all these things, but that might be all this person knows.
That's all. Thank you.
And you coming against what they know.
That's right.
And fighting what they know. And trying to force it rather than allowing the Ruach to show.
Thank you. Hallelujah. That's right.
Wisdom. The spirit of understanding. I want to understand where my spouse is at in her process or his process before I be making any move. Sometimes I can't say nothing. Sometimes I can't do nothing but sit there and pray. Because we can got to a point where she don't want to talk about it, he don't want to talk about it. Shh, do this right here. Because the only person that can work on them is the Holy Spirit.
That's right.
And he always get his woman, always get his man. If you get out the way.
Right, get out the way.
Quit thinking you got to rush. I better hurry up, do it for the sake of that. Let's get here. Oh, she gonna get left. I gotta hurry up or I gotta leave.
No, let it go.
Just be patient.
Yes. Hallelujah.
Walk this thing out. Establish what the Most High gave you. The same thing. The spirit of counsel, spirit of might, spirit of knowledge, and also the spirit of the fear of Yahuwah, which is reverence. What would kill your whole thing? If you claiming this Israelite stuff and then she see you doing some stuff that you know you ain't supposed to,
hallelujah,
you done killed everything you built.
Hallelujah.
You have to have fear of the Most High. Next thing, fruits of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, and temperance. Because guess what? You ain't wake up on your own.
Woo! Hallelujah. We just talked about that.
The Most High woke you up.
Yes, He did.
Might have took you 20, 30, 40 years to get you here. So don't think that your spouse going to wake up in 6 months.
Hallelujah. Thank you.
You see what I'm saying?
Hallelujah.
Walk it out. Walk before them uprightly and allow the Spirit to illuminate stuff in you to show them that make them, to provoke them to righteousness.
Yes. Hallelujah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
I think, is that the last slide?
That's all right.
Okay, yeah, that's it. All right, write these down. Write this down. This is stuff that you can pray over your spouse. Last slide. Oh, we over 3 o'clock. Yeah, real last. Okay. Ephesians. You want to write down? Ephesians chapter 1, verse 15 through 23. It says, wherefore after first I heard of your faith, I pray that the Most High give you the spirit of wisdom and revelation and the knowledge of Him. You praying that your wife or your husband get the spirit of wisdom and revelation and the knowledge of Christ, and know what the hope of their calling is, the riches of their inheritance, and the exceeding greatness of His power that worketh within us. They need that. They don't need to be you praying, I hope they stop smoking, I hope they stop drinking. If they get this, all that's going to get covered.
Thank you.
Ephesians 3 and 14 through 21, the same thing. Put them in there. Colossians 1, chapter 9, verse 15. What did Most High say? Most High said, I watch over my word to perform it. Right. So you begin to pray not your words, but you pray the scripture. Because ain't nothing more sacred to Him than the words that He already spoken, and you praying it over, directing it towards your family. That's all we have.
Hallelujah.
Go ahead.
Hallelujah. Praise Yah.
All right. So,
Praise Yah.
if you want to donate to Rebirth ATL, you can send it to the PayPal, paypal.me / Rebirth ATL. There's also, if you have cash or check, you can put it in these black boxes that's located around